I'm going to do an insight video again today. It's very much around sort of like I think sort of like I've been getting this sense and this feeling of like separation over the last few days, and I feel like this is quite important sort of concept. It's like it's been like on a spiritual journey in the sense of, you know, we separate ourselves by looking at things like in a very sort of like 3D dimensional way, where we look at what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, um, and we tend to look at others in that way as well. And we look at others in a way of, we're looking at their beliefs, their choices, and we sort of like get into this concept of trying to change or trying to change, something externally. Again, this is very 3D concept that we're changing something external, we're changing a situation or an event or a thing, when actually the true power and the true understanding comes from dissolving. And you dissolve from sort of like this sense of when you connect to your source, your truth, your light, your energy, you move past it, you don't attach to something. Again, this is very much what we're doing. We're building within our own energy fields, within our lives. We're building up these energy blockages through sort of being attached to external things. And the more we do that, the more we become limited. And separation also works in like labels, where we look at something, we label it. This concept over the last couple of days, I've had like I'm just walking home now, and I sort of like had this sort of like this concept of like where they talk about like isness or is. It just is. And in that sense, it's quite liberating in one way, because when you start to look at something or look at a person or look at an event, and you see it just is that way, then you start to realize that you don't need to try and understand it. You don't need to try and change it. What you need to do is you need to sort of express your light. You need to express your energy, but you also need to sort of like transform and transmutate. Like the perpetual transmutation of like Saint Germain and the universal law is about shifting consciousness. It's about shifting, reality, and this is what this time's about. We're here to awaken to your own spiritual reality, and this is really important, because I feel your reality is your reality. It's not everybody else's reality, but it doesn't make one reality, with more purpose than another reality. They're all part of the same reality. Again, this is like that kind of universal law of oneness, and it's like this is what this it just is comes from, this sort of sense and this feeling that things are playing out. And the only thing that you really need to do is express your light, express your energy in your way. If you come across somebody or an event that affects you or impacts you, it's not about changing it. It's about, well, how do you express that? How would your true nature, navigate that? How would your true nature move through that? How would your true nature open up to that, or dissolve it? Or, there's many things you can do. I mean, the situations, events that I go through at work all the time. I work in an environment where I work with individuals with complex needs, so that's what I do for a job. So people could have, I don't like labels again, but like you got people with autism and stuff like that. So it's there's a lot of situations, events that play out, and you can quite easily get caught up in that. You can get caught up in attaching to something. It's not even just people that I work with. It can be other things as well. The people that you know that I interact with. My colleagues and stuff like that. Things can really, really sort of impact you. But it's again about your true nature, about your light, about your energy, and how do you move through that? How do you navigate that? And sort of like the sense I was getting this morning is, Ben again being in this light and this energy. You can do things like you can put an energy field around you, or a light around you, and step into that light, into that energy, that sphere of light or energy, and just remain in it. Um, that whatever that situation or that event that happens, it's still part of the infinite. We're all the same. We're all this energy of light. We're all the sources of energy. You know, these source energy beings. We're all the same. And it's not for me to change your reality, or to change your journey. It's for me to express my light in my way. And if something impacts me, it's about remaining in that light, and it's about trying to navigate in a way with the highest outcome, the highest outcome. So in that sense, it's about how can I express my light in this moment, still at this time when something's impacting me, something's affecting me. But it's not for me to change. And my source energy gives me insight and gives me understanding of how to navigate that. But it wants to navigate in a way that doesn't impact somebody else. It doesn't affect somebody else. It doesn't hurt somebody else. It doesn't, your true nature is what your true nature is. Your true nature is that essence of knowing that everything's part of the same whole, and everything is, you're trying to get back to harmony, you're trying to get back to peace, you're trying to get back to balance, but you're also looking at sort of like how you approach that, so not through judgment, not through attack, not through things like that, because they're 3D, they're external things outside of yourself. Again, it's about how do you do it from a place of presence, a place of like where you're connected and aligned. And this is the key. This is the key to mastery. This is the key to mastery of, this is what the spiritual masters did. When you look at like sort of the master Jesus, he didn't go out there, and he wasn't going out there to change everybody. And what they did, these masters, is they connected to their own source energy. And when they did that, they were able to express that light in their way, through those times of pain and suffering. But they remained sort of connected, they remained aligned, and that is the true mastery. That's what the ascension path is all about. It's not about it's not about changing. You don't change anybody else. All you can do is access your own light, your own energy, and you express it. And when you express it at will, that sort of connects to other people's source energy and their essence. And when you're able to do that, it sort of like it touches them, or it and you don't really have to do anything, because they will feel that kind of connection to themselves, and they will go to a place where they will find that insight, that knowledge, that wisdom, that they will sort of like start to see and experience that aspect of their source energy, their light, and in that way they awaken. So in theory, it's not about changing, it's not about shifting or changing anybody else. And even in the sense of creation, it's the same. Creation is this concept. I talk about creation and changing your reality. Well, it's about being aligned again. It's about being in that source energy. It's about walking in that light, remaining in that light. Separation also comes through this union, or separation comes through this concept again of that we feel like we walk alone. I feel this really strongly because I think in spirit, we've got spirit energies and guides, and there's many different realities around us, and we're part of this source energy that's infinite. It's not limited, yet we walk around in this 3D concept and this 3D reality where we feel alone, and we feel like we're dealing with the world and all the situations and events on our own. And this again brings this separation. And it's not like that in spiritual reality. It's not like that in spiritual truth, and spiritual reality is not like that. You've got infinite energies around you that are working with you and are around you all the time. But we sort of like we get caught up, and we end up in this viewpoint of the 3D concept where it's the outer world and all these things are going on, and we're dealing with them, we're fighting with them, and we're dealing with the stress and the strains alone. And actually, all we need to do is ask for help. We need to open up, and step into that light and ask for that guidance, that support, and it's really important. Today is also, I've seen there's a lot around like cycles. There's a lot to do with like infinite cycles and the infinite sort of like source energy and the flow of the universe today. because when I was sort of like walking back, I've just seen like this figure eight that's in my mind's eye, and it's just literally just going like this. It's just not stopping. It just keeps going around. It keeps flowing, and so it's going. It's you know, the figure eight starts, and it's this infinite symbol of infinite light, infinite energy that's not stopping. That the flow is infinite. So it's like telling me that there's an infinite source of energy that's around us, that's entering into us, that's around us, that we can access to bring um, alignment, bring harmony, bring peace, all these kind of things. But change again is like this kind of, it's a physical thing, but it's not. In the spirit world, it's like when you align and you connect to that source or that energy, you don't need to change because you're expressing your light, so you're in harmony. So what that does is it acts like a beacon of light, or it acts like it's this frequency, this vibration, and when you're in that light, um, then reality just, you know, reality is shifted, manifested, and changed because you're attracting, because you're coming from a place of source. And when you come from a place of source, then that source energy attracts opportunities, it attracts energy, events that create the highest outcome, because you're expressing a light, you're expressing your energy in a pure form. So it manifests and creates automatically. The universe, you know, automatically attracts, you know, because it's like attracts light, you know, or like attracts like. It's like, and light attracts light. It's like the universe is a direct reflection of you and what you're creating. So your reality is a direct um, reflection of your source energy that you're expressing, and your light you're expressing. So in that sense, it's like the law of attraction works in perfect harmony. So everything we're experiencing is a reflection of what we're creating, but we're creating it by how we're expressing our light and our energy. So what vibration, what frequency we're expressing, the universe then reflects it perfectly. It's a perfect mirror image of that. So in that sense, all you have to do is express that light, walk in that light. Because if you're expressing your light and walking in that light, and you're creating or expressing these highest outcomes of love, peace, generosity, joy, laughter, all of those things, then the universe is directly reflecting that back. So the universe is like a mirror. So, you know, you can even do practices where you actually look at yourself in the mirror physically, and just, you know, do those kind of mantras, those intentions that you send out daily, and just literally mirror them out there. But imagine your energy, your source. So don't, you know, for me, it's like, don't do it from a physical place. For me, do it from like a heartfelt place. So it's like going to the center of your energy, which is here, and imagine yourself, or like your, either your heart or like your solar plexus, because your solar plexus is like an energy center of personal power. So you can sit in your energy center. I'd probably close my eyes, because the physical form can be distracting, because when you're sitting there looking at yourself physically, you're connecting to that physical form. So in that sense, you're on some sort of conscious level where you're still within a 3D reality. I'd probably close my eyes, sit in my source, my solar plexus, and just try and feel the energy. But first thing I would do is try and, because like when I'm doing that and I close my eyes, the first thing I want to do is feel the flow of the energy. So as I start to feel the flow of the energy, then I start to feel my vibration increase, my frequency increase in my energy body, and then it starts to move past the physical bodies, and it moves into the more energetic bodies, where I start to feel like I lose the physical form and I remain in an energetic form then. And that's what I feel it's got to do, so that you're sort of like, you're connecting on an energy frequency, not a physical frequency. It's not an intellectual thing, it's an energetic kind of thing. So you need to shift past that. But I feel that's what we really need to do. You just need to feel your own energy, and then just really start to communicate with the universe through the energy, through your source energy, not through your intellect. Your intellect isn't going to get us there. We're at the place where we need to be to really sort of manifest and shift. So and this me talking about this morning is, I feel this is a lesson for me. I go to work in a physical 3D reality where I go and I do my work thing, and it's all on an intellectual level, and I'm being told to shift past that, because this is where the attachments come from, on an intellectual level, not on a spiritual level and an energetic level. There's flow, there's free flow in energy, and this is where this sort of symbol comes in as well, because you've got a flow of energy coming in. So this is what this time's about. So it's very much around, we need to dissolve this separation, and we need to start to really sort of like express ourselves in a spiritual way. And there's a lot going on with that, and I mean, these are the kind of tools we're getting. But also this, by accessing your source energy, you access your qualities, or your gifts, or the spiritual sort of like, yeah, the spiritual gifts and the qualities of your infinite soul, your infinite experience, your infinite sort of energy. And it's about how to bring that out, because we all bring, you know bring a piece of the puzzle, in a sense, that infinite creation, infinite reality, is a big blueprint of picture. Imagine it like a big jigsaw puzzle, and the millions and millions of us on this planet each hold a piece, and the purpose of our life is to put that piece in place. Because the more of us that put those pieces in, or the more of us that awaken, to our gifts and our qualities, the more we then change the reality. We change the reality but we do it through a harmonious way. We do it through a very spiritual way. Because spirit doesn't work on changing. It's more about awakening and being. Spirit isn't about change in that way. It's just like, there's a natural process when you awaken to your true nature, your essence, and your source energy. You naturally become who who and what you're meant to be. When you're in that, you're in perfect alignment. So it's not about changing anything, it's about being. So it's a completely different sort of like energy frequency. It's not about this physicality, or this physical world, or this intellectual world. It's about a spiritual and an energetic world where we walk as these frequencies. And when we're walking as these frequencies, we can harness more energy, we can express more light, we can express more truth, we can express more wisdom, knowledge, understanding. And again, this is what the masters did. When they ascended masters exactly did this. So they embodied their source energy, and then from their source energy they embodied these qualities of pure creation, pure light, pure love, pure peace, pure truth, pure wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. That's what each and every one of our journeys are about here. So it's about how we align to that, and how we manifest it, and how we create it, and how we express it. It's not even manifestation or creation, it's express. Everything's about expressing your light, expressing your nature. If you're expressing your nature, and you're expressing your light and your energy and your source energy, then you're creating. Because you can't help but create, because that's the very sort of essence of what we are. We are this ever evolving, vibrating, energetic, spiritual beings. And when we're in that source energy, we're naturally creating. We don't need to think about creation, because it's happening, and it's flowing through us, and then it's expressing itself infinitely. And this is what we're doing now. Even in this reality, this is I sort of feel like I'm being directed to say, even in 3D reality, that is an aspect of that infinite flow of creation, and that's why it's part of the whole, and it's part of this universal law of oneness. But there's other ways of expressing that light, but there's also other ways of harnessing it and expressing, different realities and different. I'm trying not to get caught in like the higher. There's different ways of expressing higher light or higher energy, higher way. Because again, this is what I feel I'm being sort of like directed to, and I'm trying to find a way of expressing it without using labels, because everything comes down to labels, and labels limit, they dilute, because then you've got like perspective or a viewpoint of something because you've labelled it, and then it brings it down. So when we're expressing our light and our energy, that energy and light expands and it retracts depending on what we're vibrating and what we're expressing. So in that sense, there's no limit because the expansion can be infinite, open, and the reality can express itself fully, or it can sort of like retract, but it was still expressing itself. It's still creating something. It's still creation, but there's different aspects to creation. There's different sort of shifts to creation. There's different sort of frequencies and vibrations to frequency. Everything is vibration and frequency. Vibration and frequency are not about good, up, down, higher, lower. Vibration and frequency just move depending on what we're expressing. So if we're expressing lots, then the vibration is high, the frequency is high, and the energy is high. If we're expressing from a different perspective, then the vibration and the frequency is again high and low, but it's lower, or it's one's expansive and one's not so expansive. Again, I don't want to label, but it's very difficult when we're talking in the spiritual reality and spiritual terms. Everything's part of the whole. Everything's infinite. Everything's connected. Everything's interrelated, integrated. So there's no separation. But when we start trying to label things in a physical way, we dilute, or we take away from, the wholeness of the spiritual experience. So I think it's quite difficult to express it and explain it in physical terms. But there is no up or down. There's no right or wrong. There's no separation. There just is, and we're all part of that. And we're whatever expression we are expressing at this moment, that is still creation. So you are part of that creation, that that essence, that infinite source of energy. Whether you know it or not, you are part of it. And this is the message. So it's like, and everybody's purpose is just to express that light, express that energy, express that wholeness. The more that you express it, the more that you experience the wholeness on a deeper level, or on a different level, or on a different in a different way. But each of them bring a different experience, but they're all relevant and they're all part of the whole. That's the insight for today. It's quite a sort of like when you start talking about spiritual reality, I think it gets very deep because there is no end to it. It's never, like I said, it's never evolving cycle. There's no beginning, there's no end. It's just an infinite cycle, and each cycle as it opens, then it expands, then it expresses itself differently, or in a different way, or a different light. But different doesn't mean right or wrong or better. It just means it's just a different reality. Different realities expand. So it's quite very difficult to explain it in physical terms, because it's like when you chuck a pebble in the water and it ripples out. Well, that's what the universe does. The more so you don't ever arrive anywhere. You just keep expanding and opening. So anyway, please check out my Facebook page, which is Spiritual Awareness and Insight. Please follow, and also any comments or any questions, because this stuff I absolutely love. I love the spiritual sort of like wisdom and spiritual understanding of the spirit world. I love to talk about this kind of stuff. So if you've got any comments or any kind of questions around spiritual reality or understanding, I'm sure between us, if you give me a message like on my Facebook, we can have a chat about it, or we could just like do some messaging to sort of like build some energy or insight, or just to try and open up for you to start to like receive some kind of insight or understanding around it. Have a great day, and just keep expressing that light. If you keep expressing that light, then you're creating. There's nothing else to do. You don't need to get anywhere. You don't need to go anywhere. All you need to do is to express that light. Right.